Awesome. Awesome. So I'm still not talking. Come on, Amicia, I'm ready.
Ready.
I'm ready.
Ready.
Beautiful.
Ready.
Beautiful. Awesome. Welcome tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So let's pray. Let's pray tonight. Our Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your goodness, your kindness. Thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you because you are worthy of our praise. Thank you because you are worthy of every honor. This is 2025. And Father, we are starting, oh God of heaven, not just to gain knowledge about business or about our profession or the way to go, but get the right wisdom. And the best wisdom comes from you, who is the only wise God. Tonight, we say thank you for this grace to come. We know, Lord of heaven, that you've appointed Pastor ID tonight, Lord of heaven, to lead this session. And Father, we are asking that, oh God, the wisdom that will flow through her, oh God, will be received by us. We pray for understanding, oh God. We pray for grace to grasp every word that comes out of our mouth, oh God, that you order her, oh God, and she becomes the vessel tonight to transform our lives forever. In this 2025, Lord, this wisdom will guide our path. This wisdom will light up our way, that will not stumble, oh God. The Father, in when it comes to personal finance, we're able to know exactly what to do, when to do them, and how to do them. Thank you because we know you've taken preeminence tonight. Be glorified as we proceed. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for connecting tonight. This is our first masterclass for the year. I'm really excited. And there are many more to come and many other things beyond the masterclass also coming ahead. Next week, Saturday, for those who already know, is our business breakfast, which will also be lit. I can guarantee you that it will be really amazing. We'll have two fantastic people who we're going to introduce them much later, who'll be speaking at the business breakfast. But tonight is about personal finance, and it will be coming from our very own Pastor ID Ogufere. And amazingly, if you know her, because I mean, most of us know her as a pastor, not necessarily as a trainer, but she is a trainer. She's a HR consultant. She has worked in the banking system for a really long time, so she understands money. And I like to make money, so I am so pleased to be here. So it'll be really great tonight. And please, let's receive her. I'm sure she has. I want to give her as much time as possible so she's able to cover enough materials tonight. So everyone, please receive Pastor ID. Welcome tonight, ma'am. Over to you.
Hi, good evening, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Martha, please check your emails. I was struggling to share my slides, so I sent them to you. If you could help me do that.
Okay, I'll check them now.
All right. So good evening, everyone. So let me lay the foundation for this training. We're looking at, I can't even call it a training, so let's call it a seminar, or rather, well, trainings, because I'm hoping that Pastor Fred will allow us break it into, different sessions so that we can really get the benefit of it. Shola, who first of all came to see me, and she was talking about her business, and I said, oh, do you have a budget? Do you have a plan? Do you have a, and I realized there were some fundamental things missing, and yet she had a really excellent product. Do you have the slides, Martha?
Not yet. I can't find it. You sent it to my email, Bolemata.
Oh, okay. So let me send it by WhatsApp. Will that work?
Okay, that will work too.
All right. Okay, so I realized that there were some fundamental things, that were missing from that discussion. And I just sort of filed it at the back of my mind, saying that at some point I will touch base with her and see how she was doing. And then I moved house. And then Diane came to help me with the house, and we had pretty much the same conversation. I saw somebody with an excellent model, but didn't seem to have structure. There was structure, so let me not say that. There was structure. But in terms of financial development of the business, I didn't see that. And I remember I had that discussion with her, and I said, sorry, I'm a bit distracted. Let me send this to Martha first. So I was saying to her, to Diane, that, I'm going to sit with you and develop a portfolio, that you need a financial portfolio, because at the time she didn't have one. And then after that, I started to talk to a few, other young ladies in Hills to see what their financial plan was, what their financial portfolio was. And I realized that a lot of them didn't have any, including those who were running their own businesses. There was no financial plan for the growth of the business or financial plan for their own growth. It was more a case of, we'll make money, then we'll spend the money, then we'll make more money. And nobody builds sustainable wealth that way. I mean, I've made enough mistakes in my own life to realize that nobody builds sustainable wealth without having, some kind of financial plan. So the real deal actually was to just sit down with a few ladies. How I got into this situation now, I think Martha is to blame, because the real deal was just to sit down with about 10 people and say, okay, can I see what your financial plan is for yourself? And if you run a business, can I see what your financial plan is for your business? And then we thought, okay, can we use Hill Center, or can we talk to Pima about it? And Pimo now. We just mentioned it to Pimo before we knew, boom, okay, Pastor Fred, and well, here we are. And I saw the flyer and I saw my full government name. And I knew that flyer that is carrying my government name, my heart was so my heart has been pounding since. So we're going to talk about financial plan, personal financial plan, not financial planning. In finance, there are two different things. I worked as a financial planner. All right, I'll introduce myself when my slides come up. Martha, you have it now, right? Okay.
Yeah, I have it. Can I share it?
Yes, in finance, I worked as a financial planner. So I was doing financial planning. Financial planning means taking a client, looking at the client's goals, whether they be short-term, medium-term, long-term goals, looking at the client's appetite for risk or without risk, and then developing a plan that will help that client attain those goals. That's not really what this training is about. So if you came to do financial planning, that's not what this training is about tonight. If you want financial planning, see me at the back, then I'll charge you. You have to register for a totally different course for financial planning, which means that you have certain goals we are trying to meet, and you want us to develop and manage a financial plan that will enable you meet those goals. What we're talking about is, as individuals or as entrepreneurs, how do we manage our money, our personal money? How do we manage our personal money in a way that, that the management of it is sustainable? We're not running helter-skelter. You're not running a business and you're either cannibalizing the business or the business is cannibalizing you. All right. So very quickly, by show of hands, how many people here are entrepreneurs? Martha, can you put it on slideshow. I'm only seeing one hand. Entrepreneurs.
My hand is up.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing some hands now. Okay. All right. Okay. So I think I had delayed reaction. Okay. So this was designed especially for entrepreneurs. It doesn't mean that if you are not, you will not benefit from it. You will. But the design was for primarily for entrepreneurs, because when you look at the statistics of small businesses, records will tell you, or data will tell you, that 80% of small businesses do not survive. And even when they survive, they do not thrive. And I think that that's because for many small businesses, it's difficult to separate the finances of the business from the finance of the owner. Many small business owners tend to believe that they and their business are one. They are the same. You are legally different entities. And it's helpful for the business if you can separate that. Now, from the hands that are raised up, how many of you are on your business payroll? You earn a salary from your business. Your business pays you a salary. How many of you? Okay. Okay. All right. So that's good. Now, the third question I want to ask, all right, for many people who run small businesses, they are the orga, they are the sole signatory and the end. How many of you have any kind of, I don't want to call it governance, I just want to call it, any kind of barrier, any kind of constraint, any kind of supervision that stops you from taking the business money when you need money? I'm not saying that you do it. I'm saying you have something in place that stops you. Okay, so you can't just go and take it. So you can see that considerably hands have reduced. And these are things that we must consciously think about, because there are so many people that have excellent products, but the businesses are not growing financially. There is no sustainability in terms of finance. And borrowing for a small business is very expensive. How many of you have funds in your account that can fund your next big contract without reaching out to family and friends? If you had twice the largest order you have ever had come in at once, do you have the funds to meet it? Have you built it up? Would you have to borrow it? All right. So keep all of these things in mind. And as we go through the slides, you are doing double work, because you're going to do the work for yourself as an individual, and you're going to do the work for your business as a separate individual. This is a modular training program, which means that we're not covering everything in this series. So I've called it Personal Finance Masterclass Series 1. There are other series that will come, and I'll show you as we go along. Martha, next slide, please. All right, so I'm taking Series 1. Since you used my government name, let me pronounce it, because some of you have been calling me funny things. My name is Inaingo Ogufere. My name means wealth has come. And I've seen that happen many times. I get into a business and boom, I've seen it happen. Really, I have. And I've seen businesses and families, thrive because I just came. I was there. I was part of it. I get into a company is not doing well. Boom, they start doing well. I don't have to do anything. It is the gift of God. That's an aside. So I'm taking Series 1, and I'm sort of laying a foundation for everyone today and bringing awareness. The first awareness I've brought you, and which I'm praying you will write down, is that you are a separate legal entity from the business you own. Okay, please write that down. So I'm just bringing awareness on different levels today. We will advise you of the next date, and I'm hoping and I'm really praying that if you've done series 1, do not miss series 2. Kemi Ojenika is going to take series 2, and she's going to be talking about different wealth creation strategies. Typically, you should be talking about assets you can invest in that will be working for you. Turn your money into a soldier that brings more money. All right, so she'll cover that. And then Louis Ogbefun will talk about several income supplemental strategies that we can adopt. And I'm hoping we'll finally have a 4th class just to touch base and see what you've learned and see what you're implementing. The truth is you can learn a lot, but if you don't implement anything, you just be the same way you came. And I don't want you to do that. So today I'm hoping that you have a pen, you have a biro, you have, you're taking notes, because we're going to be very practical and you're going to do some work. Next slide, Martha. So I wear many, many hats. I wear many hats. I would rather you call me ID. Please don't call me Inaingo, because people have called me all sorts of things, including a mango. So call me ID. In fact, you call, hey, hi, Tammy. It's good to see you here. In fact, if you call my full name, right, there are very few people that will know who you're talking about. So call me ID. I work as a counselor, a coach, and a mentor. I'm actually a certified coach. I'm actually a certified business and personal coach. All right. I was London trained and certified. Okay. I work as a trainer and a facilitator, which Pastor Fred has mentioned. I work for a company called the KRC Limited. So KRC develops training programs for different organizations, predominantly banks. And this is one of the programs that we run when we run training school, this personal Managing Your Money Well program. I'm an author. I have one published book. I've been struggling really, really hard to have a second one. And I've promised myself that by the end of the year, I will have a second one. I'm a pastor and a mother of many, 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 many children. And my many children are here. And my many children are to thank for this training. Because like I said to you at the beginning, I'd said to them, we're going to sit down with you. I'm going to sit down with you guys and, help you understand why there are institutions and there are companies and there are even small mom and pop stores that thrive over time, and how to build that structure or framework into your business. I'm an entrepreneur, so I have an HR consultancy. I've been trying to set up this travel, not services, products. So products for travel, because I travel a lot. Travel wear, travel. I've been trying to do that one. That one has not taken off, but by God's grace, it will, and some other things. So I have some businesses on the side. I started working in the University of Port Harcourt when I was doing my master's program. I have a degree in industrial chemistry, BSc and MSc. So I went to work in Uniport as a research assistant, did that for a few years, came to Lagos, hoping to get a job, got a job in Guarantee Trust Bank. So I started in Guarantee Trust Bank in 1995, worked in Guarantee Trust Bank up till 2006. So I went through the whole, did corporate banking, institutional banking, public sector, markets development, credit analysis. So I'm a certified credit analyst. I left Guarantee Trust Bank because my family was relocating, came back, and then I worked with ARM, Asset and Resource Management. So working with ARM, I was a financial advisor for like ultra high net worth individuals. I remember having only 8 clients and a portfolio or assets under management over 20 billion naira then. So that was, a really long time. I worked in Bayelsa State for like 1 year, trying to set up an enterprise development school, basically trying to help them gather the young people who were not skilled and teach them different skills. That did not go well. It's a story for another day. and then I work for the KRC. Next slide, Martha. So you have my phone number, email address. I'm going to give you assignments, and you can contact me via WhatsApp. Please do not call me. Just send a WhatsApp message and I will answer you. And the reason why I say don't call me, most times I'm in a class teaching and I cannot take phone calls until the end of the day. But if you send a WhatsApp message, as soon as I'm on break, I will get back to you. So I've told you how we got here. I was looking at my daughters and saying to them, no, you have to be more intentional about making money and spending money. Okay, so what do we want to achieve? I want to share practical tools, that will create the foundation for how we make money and how we spend money. And those practical tools start with how we think about money. So Martha, there is a link I sent to you. People have different ways they think about money. We call it your money personality. So if Martha can put up that link, I want you to take like a quick 5 minutes. Is the simplest exercise you can do. In 5 minutes, you'll be done and it will show you your money personality type. So Martha, is there a way we can share that link so people can use it? Can you go to the next slide, please?
Yes, I'm about to share the link.
Okay. Well, can you go to the next slide while you're doing that?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so while Martha is sharing the slides, can I pick randomly?
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, can I pick randomly Micah Bello? Let me ask you, Micah, can you unmute, please? What do you intend to achieve this evening from this program?
The link is up on the chat room. Sorry to interrupt.
So while
Heidi.
Micah is speaking, can you quickly pick up the link and do your money personality analysis? Micah, what do you intend to achieve?
Yeah, hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I aim to achieve from this class this evening is to be able to learn on how to put my personal finance together, because I have a business I run to provide services. So I want to be able to learn ways I can separate my own personal finance from my business finance.
Okay. Thank you, Micah. Emily, can you unmute? What do you intend to achieve tonight?
Can you hear me? Can hear
Yes,
me?
yes.
Okay, so essentially I just want to know how I can manage my personal finances. Um I think I already have a method, but I mean there's no knowledge lost. So I'm here to just learn and see if there is something else I can do better.
Okay, that's great. I see that I have a wide range. There are some finance gurus here. I'm going through the list and looking. And then there are some people who, okay, Winnie Fred, what do you intend to achieve?
Hi, good evening, Pastor Heidi.
Good evening.
I want to know how to manage my finance better and just know how to plan my money. So it's more personal since I'm not exactly an entrepreneur now.
Okay, excellent. So I'm hearing the same things. I want to learn how to plan. And you cannot manage your money without a plan. You cannot. I know there's several people here who think that the plan is get a job. Get a job, go to work, and everything will be okay. No, everything will not be okay. One of the things that woke me up, I worked in ARM during the recession. So I was one of the last people to join. My family came back into Nigeria. They had headhunted me, so I got an excellent offer, had a car, had a driver. It was such a really nice job. And it wasn't a hard job. It was not like banking. So coming from banking, it wasn't a hard job to do. But by the time I started work, Nigeria then went into a recession. And that was the recession of 2008. Many of you here are very young. And you probably did not understand why in 2008 your parents were coming home and looking very angry. So there was the whole international crisis. And I remember at that time, the stock market had been booming. You know, if you have questions, please put them in the chat or stop me. You know, stock market had been booming. You know, I had bought Guaranteed Trust Bank shares as a GTB staff at 2 naira. At the time I left Guaranteed Trust Bank, GTB shares were like 6 naira. At the time I came back into the country and I was working in ARM, GTB shares were about 30 naira and climbing. And working in the financial sector made it easy for us to understand how these things work. I remember a colleague of mine borrowing 1 million naira at the time to buy Access Bank shares. He bought Access Bank shares at 2 naira. The shares got to about 4 naira and he sold them. So he returned the 1 naira, the 1 million he borrowed, and he had monies in excess of 1 naira as profit. And all of that happened in a short period. The market was booming so quickly, and we would have, you know, meetings every day, early morning meetings, just to look at what international markets were also doing. And we're watching this crisis, you know, and looking at really big banks in America just crumbling. And we knew it would affect us in Nigeria, you know, and we would come out of those meetings and start to call our clients and say to clients, you need to leave the capital market and go to the money market. Capital market is the market where you buy stocks and bonds, all right? Money market is the market where you buy things like you put your money in a fixed deposit, or you buy the Nigerian, you know, treasury bills. Those are types of assets. Kemi will throw more light on them. So we're saying to our clients, you need to leave the capital market and come into the money market. But because the capital market was growing so quickly, many people were refusing. You know, they refused to leave. And they were like, no, the market, you know, GTB went from 30, 31, 32, almost increasing on a daily basis, and people were refusing to leave. But we knew the market would crash. We knew, because there was nothing fundamentally driving the share prices. It wasn't that organizations had become better or bigger or management had changed, nothing. It was just fueled by, Damilola bought, Delphine bought, okay, let me go and buy. And when the crash then happened in US, right, I remember very clearly, I'm trying to remember names. I think Soludo at the time was the CBN governor. I can't remember who was head of SEC, but they came out with a policy which said that you couldn't sell your shares unless your shares overnight dropped by 50 kobo. They came up with that policy. I'm giving you gist though, so that you're doing your money personality thing, please. So when the shares then started dropping, right, many people couldn't sell. A lot of people could not sell. Now, bear in mind, many people had borrowed money from the banks to invest in the capital market. So shares then started falling. So you literally just see your GTB go from 31 naira to 30 naira 80 kobo. So because it wasn't 50 kobo, you couldn't sell it. And it kept dropping till it got to about 5 naira. And people lost their homes. Banks were hit with bad loans because, of course, they had secured the loans with the same shares. So the borrower will just give you the shares, go and get what you want out of it. So banks were hit with bad loans, you know, and because they were hit with bad loans, they had to start downsizing. Now, a colleague, not a colleague, a friend of mine, because I was in ARM, but he was in a bank at the time, and he had grown in the bank and had become a GM. And on making GM, the bank had given him a house, had given him 3 cars. So here he was living in Ikoyi, he had 3 cars. And way before all of this happened, he was sharing with us and his brother how he had a dream. And in that dream, he said he came to work and he saw a list of people who were asked to go, and his name was on the list. And his brother said to him, if that happened, will you and your family survive? He was married with 2 boys, and he realized that he wouldn't survive. Will you and your family survive for 3 months based on what you have? Do you have savings? Do you have do you have? And he knew they wouldn't survive because he was earning a lot and also spending a lot. Because I remember when his family is going on vacation, and they used to go on vacation, summer, Easter, you know, they used to really go on different vacations. He'll just shell out wads of dollars and they'll go on vacation and come back, you know. So he didn't have a financial plan. But before the market tanked, his brother had made him invest in several assets. So he had bought like a townhouse, rented out one side, started a business, you know, started doing pure water on another side, you know, just started putting his money to work instead of just spending all of it lavishly. And when the market then tanked and banks were now laying off people, he was laid off. He was laid off. And I remember him trying to move from his Ikoyi house to the house he had bought in Lekki. He had to sell off, you know, a lot of personal, I mean, the bank had furnished the house, so furniture wasn't theirs. He had to sell off a lot of personal, let me tell you, just children's clothes. He took his children's clothes, right, to Ikota market because he found boxes and boxes and boxes of clothes in his house that the children had not even worn. So they'll buy blue shorts, white and blue shirts, then white and blue canvas to match it. You know, so he took that to Ikota market, sold it then, 2008. He got 3 million naira from selling children's clothes. And that was the money he now used to furnish his house. But for him, God helped him. He had a wake-up call before it happened. Imagine that he didn't have any investments and that happened. His family would have been homeless. I know that there were a lot of families that from the 2008 global meltdown were homeless. A lot. There was a client who committed suicide. So many things happened in that period, and it was a wake-up call for me. Because me too, I was working in finance and not have a plan. As they are paying, in fact, before they pay you the money, you have written like post-dated checks now. It's Lagos, you have to represent. That time, Auntie Fumi hair. Hey, God. If you did not have Auntie Fumi hair, you're not a real banker. You're not. So we're buying, we're spending. But that was a wake-up call for many of us. And it made me take a step back and sit down and begin to think properly about my finances. And over time in running this program, you know, I've developed it over time and realized that there are many people think differently about money. And I'm seeing people posting different things. I'm an enterpriser, I'm contemporary, I'm a realist. People think differently. Those of you who are married here, you will see it in your marriage that you and your spouse think differently about money. You know, and sometimes it can cause a lot of, but that does not mean that in spite of who you are, you know, you don't own or you don't know, you don't develop yourself financially and manage your money well. When we are managing the socialites are the ones that are hard to manage. So those of you who are socialites, raise your hand. Let me hail you first. When you are managing socialites, right, we always come up with a financial plan that allows them to be them. Because if you don't do that, then the financial plan will fail from the beginning. The essence of, you know, doing this is not to change your personality. It's to make you aware of who you are and why those things are important to you. We're not trying to change a socialite into a realist. Socialites are the ones who walk into a store, right? They buy the most expensive thing because for them, the most expensive thing is the best thing. Even when you present 2 things to them and you're saying these 2 things can do the same thing, They buy the most expensive thing. That's just who they are. We're not here to change you, please. I'm saying to you, own it. And I hope you spend some time, or if you didn't do it now, spend some time reading the different, Martha, go to the next slide, please. Spend some time reading the different personality types. It will help you understand how you think about money. The other group that is hard to manage is the minimalist, because the minimalists, they are born with a saving culture, don't want to spend any money at all. And the honest truth is that you need to spend money to make money. Or let me use a different word. You need to invest money to make money. All right? So own who you are, because when you own who you are, you can then address the weaknesses of your money habits, and you can use that money habit, to work for you. All right? Don't be this. So don't try and change your money personality. That will not work, because after a while you'll be tired. If you are the socialist and I said, okay, let me do a plan for you that will make you a minimalist, you will run away. It will not work. The minimalist likes to look at his bank account balance. Let him just be seeing it, just be watching it. And then you have those in between, realist, enterpriser, contemporary. Most of the, God will indeed provide. Most of the realists that are here already have financial plans, to be quite honest. You find that many realists already have. If they don't have a formal financial plan, they have something informally where they are keeping notes, and they're keeping track of what they're doing with their money. If you ask them, do you have a savings plan? Many of the realists will tell you, yes, I do. I put money every month in piggy vest, or I buy this, I'm this, don't touch it. There's one that I forgot. I don't even go, the realists are that way. Okay, so please own your money personality, because you're going to need it as we move along. All right, Martha, next slide, please. Pastor Fred, how much time do I have?
Please keep going. We're enjoying this.
Okay. One of the first things you must know, right, to manage money well is your net worth. And at this point, you will need to bring out your pen and paper. Don't use laptop, please. Get actual pencil or pen, get actual paper, because you have to think and write and cross off some things for what we're going to do. But before we get there, let me explain it to you. What is net worth? Net worth is who you are, your financial value. Let me put it that way. You see, in Lagos, Lagos is flex. When we say flex, Lagos is like a monopoly board. That's the way Lagos is. You see a lot of people outside who are seemingly wealthy. They aren't really. It came as a shock to me, working in financial services and managing monies for, many individuals, and to see that many of them had zero net worth. Many of them had minus net worth. All right? Net worth is your financial value. And for every person managing their finances, what you want to do over time is to increase your net worth. Your net worth is what you will leave for generations to come. All right? You will leave your net worth for generations to come. I'm sure you have watched many movies where this very wealthy man died, right? And they were about to read his will. And when they were about to read the will, the bankers came and said, the house belongs to us, the cars, and there was nothing. So there was nothing that was passed on to generations. And you must understand that as believers, this is God's plan for your life. That you will leave something for the generation that is coming after you. You must leave something for the generation that is coming after you. If you do not have net worth, then you have nothing to leave. How do you measure your net worth? Your net worth is measured by subtracting your liabilities from your assets. And I will explain them step by step because I want you today to actually calculate your net worth. You are not going to show it to anybody. You are not going to show it to me, please. It's for you. So I need you to be as honest as you possibly can in calculating your net worth. Martha, go to the next slide. How do we calculate our net worth? We start with our assets. Assets are what you own. And assets are measured at a particular point in time. So today, what do you own? I'm not talking about what you owned yesterday. I'm not talking about what you owned in 2024. I get them before, no be property. Do you understand? What do you own today? So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to calculate your assets. What do you have in terms of cash? And that means your bank balances, right? Add them up. If you have several accounts, quickly add up what you have in those accounts. If you have a fixed deposit, add it. If there's cash, a wad of cash, you know, there are some of you who must have wads of cash somewhere, add it. If you have dollar cash, convert it at 1,650, add it. All right? So add up all your cash. We'll start with cash. Add up your cash. Then, do you have securities? And when we say securities, I mean treasury bills. Do you have investments in treasury bills? Did you at any point in time, if you don't know what a treasury bill is, don't worry, it means you don't have it. Skip that line. All right? Kemi will explain treasury bills. Okay, so don't add debt. So please, cash. Don't add debts. I will layer everything for you. Just follow me line by line. Cash, how much cash do you have now? All right? Today, not the one you had, you know, before 30 December. No, please. How much cash do you have today? All right? Including fixed deposits. If you have all of that, it comes under cash. Cash is a measure of liquidity. And it is important that you are liquid, not overly so. With time, we will explain the ratio of liquid or the percent of liquidity you will have with time, all right? And that's why we're separating it. So do your cash, then do your treasury bills, securities. Do you have treasury bills? Do you have you bought shares? You know, when MTN was selling shares, did you buy? When Dangote sold commercial papers, did you buy? Now, if you don't understand what these things are, don't worry. We will explain them to you later. It means that if you don't understand it, you don't have it, so skip it, all right? Do you have commercial paper investments? Do you have bonds? When Lagos State was trying to raise money and they issued bonds, did you buy? When GTB issued Euro bonds, did you invest? If you have that, that's your second line. Call it securities. Your mutual funds are money market instruments, so add them in your securities, okay? So if you have mutual funds investments, add them to your securities, okay? So that will come under your securities. Then receivables. Are there outstanding income? If you're a business person, do this for yourself or do this for your business. You and your business are separate, oh. Do you understand? Choose the one you are doing it for. You and your business are not one, no. So choose the one you are doing it for. If it's the business account you are looking at, look at the business account. Does the business, don't add the two together. Please separate it. If you have outstanding income, and that's why I mentioned it, because some businesses would have done a job for somebody and the person has not paid. That amount that the person is owing, that the person is supposed to pay the business, is called a receivable. All right? Then you can add it, that there's money coming. You have, and when we say receivable, you and the person have agreed, though. There's a, there's certain money. Please, not wishful thinking. Not the one you say you want to go and drag the person on social media. No. Please, There's certainty that the money is coming. So it comes under a receivable. The reason why I'm saying separate it, I find that some people, because as individuals, they don't have receivables, they will start adding their business receivables here. Please don't do that. Keep your sheet clean. When you finish with yourself in the evening, you can do for your business, okay? So do your receivables if you have outstanding guaranteed income and inflows that are coming, all right? You can then put it there in your receivables. Somebody asked, should we add pension funds? When it comes to your prepayments, if you have made prepayments, right? You have rent, you have insurance, you know, yes, you can add your pensions, right? You then put it under your prepayments. For instance, in Nigeria, many people would have paid their rent in January for the whole year. All right. So it becomes an asset for you because you haven't expensed it. You haven't lived through, you know, you haven't drawn on it. So it's an asset for you. You can now add it. Same with insurance. If you have paid upfront, those upfront payments that you have made for which you haven't enjoyed the service, then you can add it here. All right. Don't put your salary, Biko. Please, because some what day are we in? We're at the end of the month. I believe you have been paid, so that salary will be in your bank now as cash in bank. Don't now put February salary now, please. No, don't. Then if you have assets, do you have land? Now if you have land and building, you're going to add it at cost. Don't increase the value, all right? Because you're not sure what that increment should be, okay? So unless you are sure, all right? So put your land, you have a building, you have a motor vehicle. A motor vehicle covers a private jet. If you have a plane, do you have cars, do you have a boat, do you have a motorbike? Do not add a bicycle. And the reason I'm saying don't add a bicycle, want to look at assets that you own today that have value to be converted from a fixed asset to a liquid asset. Remember, we talked about cash being liquid. So we're looking at assets that you can convert into liquid assets. Please don't have, if you have a plane, add it, Helen. But remember, I'm not looking at it. So those of you that are adding things that you don't have, now yourself, they do. So if you're, these Hills people, Jesus, if your parents have promised you land, they have not given it to you, don't add it. You are not the prodigal son. Do you understand? You will wait until they have given you. You will not go to your father and say, I'm doing financial masterclass. That land you promised me, please give me, let me add it. No. Asset is what you own. All right? So add it. If you have land, add it. You know, if the land belongs to you, people are plenty, share it, add your part. Do you understand? There are some parents that have left land for like 10 people. The land is so. Unless you have someone who has valued it, then you can use that valuation, you know, that value they've given you. If you people are 10, share it. Just add only your part. Don't add all. Now, valuables. Remember, your thinking is, can I convert this to cash? And interestingly, a lot of women have property that have great second-hand value. You'll be amazed. There's some women with designer bags. Designer bags have great second-hand value. You can add it. Please, if you went to H&M to buy bag, don't add it. Don't add it. If you have jewelry that can be resold, you have gold, add it. Don't add GL, please. So the thinking is, can I convert this? Can this be converted from a fixed asset to a liquid asset? All right. So if you have artwork, you have, things that if push comes to shove, you can, slug in the market and get some bit of cash. All right. You can then add that. Some people have invested in jewelry. Jewelry is a strong financial portfolio. You can add that. Okay. And then if you are the owner of a business and you are doing this as an individual, you can add your monetary share in that business. I've said you can add your artwork, but you must know the value. If you don't know the value, put the cost. Now, for furniture, appliances, blah, 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 please try not to add them. If you have an iPhone 16, if you have an iPhone 15, those phones that you can sell in the market and still get considerable amount of money, you can add them. All right. If you have one Nokia phone, they have used sellotape to wrap it, don't add it. You can add a MacBook if it has a strong resale value. Follow the thinking. Does this have a resale value? So I hope that as I'm talking, you're adding. All right. Please, not artwork that you bought in traffic. Please. That one, they will just paint. But not that one, please. Something that has resale value. Okay. Don't cry, Kemi. That's why we're here. I cried the first time too. If you have iPhone 6, don't add it, please. Nobody will buy it. Not because we say iPhone, now add your iPhone 6, iPhone 7, iPhone 8. Nobody will buy it. Then you have one iPad, all the screen has cracked. But because it's Apple, you want to add it, don't add it. Will this suffice for artwork? I have said that before. If you have artwork, but make sure it's artwork that, the artist has value. All right? I bought artwork from a child. There was a child who, his mother, he's very young boy. I think he was 4 or 5 at the time. His mother did, she did this exhibition for him because he used to paint a lot. It's a crab. And I bought it. I think I bought that artwork many years ago. I bought it for like $50. And we're doing it. Don't add books, please. And we're doing it to encourage him. So I bought it for $50. And I've been keeping that artwork and, just watching it. One day, I know that this artist will be, then I can bring it out and say, this artwork is now millions of naira. When I was leaving Guaranteed Trust Bank, I left Guaranteed Trust Bank in 2006. When I was leaving Guaranteed Trust Bank, I was giving an artwork. I'm trying to see if it's downstairs. It's not, it's upstairs. I was giving an artwork by an artist called Swarovski. It's when you go and try and sell it, you know that those things that they put there is just shiny stones. I was giving an artwork by an artist called Dise Tantwa. At the time, wasn't very popular when I was leaving Guaranteed Trust Bank. A few years ago, I went to an art exhibition, where paintings were being, an exhibition, and there were several artists there, and he was one of the artists that was showing, and I was looking at his artwork and I was seeing prices like 3 million naira, 4 million naira, 5 million naira. And they were not as big as the one I have. The one I have is really big. I came out of that place doing myself like this. Come on, I'm all right. So if you have artwork that can sell, then you add it. Don't now add the one you printed from. Some of you go to, what's that software? There's one software where they have photos. You go there and you print. You now want to add it. No, please, don't add it. You have 3 more minutes. I need to start painting. Please do. Pastor Fred, looks like you are done. Have you been adding up your assets, Pastor Fred? Because you're just chilling. You're the only one I can see.
No, I'm doing my calculations. I'm looking at my shoe.
Don't add your shoes, please. Except your shoe is Hermes. And when we say designer, there's designer and there's designer. Please. So the top designers. Are we done? Okay. The next thing I want you to do. Are we all done? Can we move on from assets?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Martha, next slide. So add up, make sure you have a total, all right, for your assets. Make sure you have a total for your assets. Now, the next thing I want you to add up are your liabilities. What you owe today. What you owe today. Not what you were owing yesterday or what you will owe tomorrow. What you owe today. Do you have loans from any financial institution, whether it is formal and informal? Go and borrow money from Loan Shark, from, you know, those ones that used to do obituary for somebody because you have not paid. Write it down how much you took, including the interest. Including the interest. Write down how much you took, including the interest. You took money from Guarantee Trust. You did it. Even you took the money years ago. You have not been able to pay back. Interest has accumulated. Don't put the money on one side and put the interest on another side. Add the two of them today. As long as you are still owing today, that amount you are still owing today, put it. Don't say when I took the loan, it was 50,000 I took. Now, because I did not pay interest, so how will we know the interest? When you borrow, didn't they tell you what they will charge you? When you borrow, they told you what they will charge you now. All right, so please add up, okay? Whether it's a formal financial institution or an informal financial institution, you're owing your Isusu group. Add it. Did you have a question? Okay. Now, when you have finished with that, the next category of loans we try to pretend that we are not owing is a loan from family and friends. Your brother borrowed you money. Your father borrowed you money. Your sister borrowed you money. Add it there. Loan from family and friends, vendors, contractors. Vendors and contractors will come under other outstanding bills, please. Unless you have outrightly taken a loan from a vendor or a contractor. Unless you have outrightly taken a loan, but otherwise, it will come under outstanding bills. I want to go easy on a lot of you because I know many of you don't pay taxes. What if you don't intend to repay? Blood of Jesus, add it. I'm not asking you whether you want to repay or not. Just add it. I'm not involved in your repayment. Add it first, all right? Okay, now a lot of you don't pay taxes, but those of you who know what your tax liability is at this point in time, please add it, especially those of you who are working on your businesses, all right? And you know what your tax liability is, add it as well. Now, yeah, whatever work tax you're paying, add it. Am I missing something? I think some of the chats are coming a bit too fast and I'm not seeing them. Does anybody need me to address something? You can unmute. Okay. Now, so here is where vendors, contractors come in. Some of you, where you work, there's a caterer that gives you food. You don't pay every day. You accumulate it. It's like an accrual for you. And then at the end of the month, when they pay your salary, you then go and pay her. This is where you add it. Other outstanding bills. You have collected, Come has sold outfit for you. You have not paid Come, add it here. You have eaten food from Linda. You have not paid Linda, add it here. All right? Everything you are owing, please add it. Do you understand what I mean? Vendors, contractors, etc. Nigerians buy a lot of take now, pay later. So all your take now, pay later activities, add them here. You have outstanding bills, your home bills, your, utility bills, whatever is outstanding as a bill that you have not paid, you are going to put it here. You went to the doctor, they've treated you, you haven't finished paying them, add it here. You went to your neighborhood Malam and collected Indomie and Fanta, you have not paid him, add it here. You dialed star 100 hash and you borrowed credit, you have not paid, add it here. All right, every outstanding bill, add it here. If you have long-term contractual payments that are outstanding, some of you went to school abroad, you did student loan. You did student loan. You did not pay the student loan. It's an outstanding bill. They have given you time to pay it. Please add it here. Some of you went to born in America. You did not finish paying your medical delivery bill. They have given you time to pay it. Add it here. Whatever is a debt, what you owe is a liability. Please add it here. Are we done? When it was asset, you people were chatting, no, playing, no, this one, no, that one, no. Now nobody is chatting again. I'm in shock. I'm weak. Don't be weak. Are we done? So now, if you have added your assets and you have added your liabilities, yay! You have your net worth. Next slide, Martha. Let's see your financial value. How financially healthy are you? How financially healthy are you? If your net worth is negative, you're in life support. You need drip. If you have negative net worth, you need drip. I'm not putting numbers. Normally in a class, I would put numbers to it because when we run these classes, we run the classes for like people. So if we're running it for entry level, we're looking at people who are just starting work. And we can then tell them, oh, if you have 1 million net worth, you're moderately healthy because you're just starting work. But here we have a wide range of people. So I'm not putting numbers to it. But standard rule, life support, negative net worth. It means that you are owing more than you owe. All your financial organs have failed and you're living on machines. That's what it means. How do we get you away from there? Does everybody have their net worth?
Yes, ma.
Why are we
Yes, ma.
Our response is on life support.
So
Just
one of
about net worth, no problem.
one of the learnings for me when I did this, right, is how many times we take pride in things that we own that have no increasing value. So you look at your wardrobe, especially the ladies. You're looking at your wardrobe. Ooh, you have dresses, you have shoes, you have bags, you have that, but they don't add to your net worth. So you need to be more intentional in how you spend on things that do not add to your net worth. That was one of the things it did for me. Just looking at my wardrobe. The wardrobe is full. In fact, the wardrobe is like in 2 rooms because one room cannot contain all the clothes. So you now use another room. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at your financial value, it doesn't add up. So we cannot teach you financial discipline. We can tell you about it. Discipline is a muscle. You have to exercise it. You have to, Opay loan, add it here, please add it. You have to constantly measure your net worth. Like I said, we measured it today. What I want you to do is in a month's time, measure your net worth again and see if there is any improvement. If there is no improvement, it means that you are not intentionally looking at your finances. All right. So some people have sent me messages to say, give me a value, give me a value. I will give you a value when I sit down with you and look at what you earn, all right, and what your responsibilities are. Because some people earn really well, but they're carrying a lot of responsibilities that they cannot offload. So that's why I'm saying I'm reluctant to throw out figures here because we have a wide range of people. There's some people who have a net worth of, let me say 10 million naira, for instance, today. And I will analyze your earning, your responsibilities, and I'll tell you that, look, that your net worth is failing health. Do you understand what I mean? If a Dangote did this exercise and he came up with a net worth of 100 million, oh, he's on life support. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, so I really can't give you figures without knowing more about what you do. But standard, if you're in negative net worth, you're on life support. Life support means all your financial organs have failed. It means that you are not paying attention to your financial health and you are failing financially. You're unhealthy, so to speak. But not to worry, I've been on life support before. So don't worry, we'll come out of it. Can we go to the next slide? Martha. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Martha, are you on life support?
Martha, next slide. Okay. So now that you know your...
No, I'm not. Am I going to the next slide?
Yes. Okay. So what we want to do over the entire series is to help you improve your net worth. Remember, your net worth is your financial value. All right. Please go to the next slide. How do we improve our net worth? Martha, can somebody just call this Martha? Is she on life support for real? Now, because you have, Martha, next slide. Because you have calculated your net worth using your assets and your liabilities, how do you improve your net worth? It's very simple. Get more assets, then reduce your liabilities. Mathematically is simple, isn't it? But how do you get more assets if you don't have money? Do you understand what I mean? How do you then get more assets? Because you need money to get assets. All right. So that's why we have broken it into parts, because I want us to be able to get into the details of it. I think Louis is going to handle the income streams part, increase your income streams and things like that. I'll touch a bit on it today so that you can fund assets. But one of the things I want you to think about is what kinds of assets am I putting money into? Kemi will cover that. She will define assets properly. She will define different asset classes. She will talk to you about investment assets. What assets can I invest in that will generate income? Many people just walk into a showroom, buy a car, that's an asset. Yes, it will improve your net worth. But the minute you drive it out of the showroom, it immediately loses value. And those are the things you need to begin to think about as you try to improve your net worth. Remember, your net worth is your financial value. It must have sustainability. It must grow over time. It must grow to the point where you're leaving it for the generations that are coming, after you. The other way is to decrease your liabilities. It's easier said than done. If you go back to your liabilities, I'm sure every one of you who has a loan, whether that loan is from a loan shark or from a bank or from a parent or a sibling, or you have outstanding bills to pay, every one of you will justify why. It seemed like you needed that money. In fact, if you did not have that money that time, things would have gone wrong. I remember when GTB came up with this instant loan, quick cash, they called it. And they gave a number, you just dial *56#, and immediately they will give you the loan. I told myself I was not going to go near that thing because I have socialite tendencies. So I was at the Palms Mall one day and I went there to buy food. Finished buying, doing grocery shopping, and I saw this beautiful juicer. Mind you, I had a juicer at home and I had a smoothie maker. But this juicer, even you, if you see it, you will like it. The one I had at home was black and steel. This one was white with red. And that time, I was trying to do color kitchen. The thing just matched my kitchen. Kai! I looked at it. My account did not have the money for it. Guess what I did? *56#. What I had said I will never do. I did it. The money just entered my account immediately. As in, you just press, that send. Money is in your account. Of course, I bought the juicer. How many times did I use it? I can't even remember. After a while, I gave it out. Was that the last time I used that whatever? It wasn't. Every time I found myself wanting something that I couldn't afford, I used it. But it was a loan. It was a loan. So there are many of us looking at our liability sheet and saying, but this was necessary, this was necessary, this was necessary, and this was necessary. We're eating up our net worth. We're the ones putting ourselves in life support. Martha, please go to the next slide. So how do we improve our net worth? One of the things I want to talk to you about today is financial decisions. And it's already 7. Wow. It's making financial decisions and the discipline of it. Like I said, we can teach you these things, but we can't teach you discipline. Financial discipline is a muscle. I had a friend when we were living in Paris. We used to live for sales. So the minute we hear, the shops are doing sales, we'll go shopping. And I will buy, and she'll say, I'll say, aren't you buying? She'll say, no. I'll say, it's on sale. She said, there'll be sale tomorrow still. There will be sale tomorrow still. You see that thing that you think that you need, that you can't live without today? You can. You can. So what helps us make decisions? What helps us discipline ourselves is what we call budgeting. It hit me one day that in the bank, working in the bank, we would sit down for like a whole month. December month, no, not even December, November was for budgeting. We would then budget how much money we will make in the next year for the bank. So my own team, what are you going to make? All right. We'll say we will deliver this in income. This will be our profit for the next year. How will you do it? We'll then list back. We'll do this, we'll go to this customer, we'll open this account, we'll do importation, we'll do this, we'll charge this, we'll break everything down of what we're going to make. How much are you going to spend? Because the bank is not that interested in how much you are going to make if you will spend it all. Then we'll say, okay, we'll buy laptops, we'll buy a car, we'll do this, we'll do that, so we'll have an expense budget as well. So we would have an income budget and we'll have an expense budget. And then we'll go and present the budget for approval. Once that budget is approved, you will meet it. There's no story. You cannot come with a story. You have done your budget, you will meet it. And there's something called the run rate. So when I discovered I was on life support, these are some of the things that I then adopted to get myself out of life support. All right. I said to myself, if the bank is working with a budget as big as it is and as wealthy as it is, why am I not? Why am I not conscientious about my spending? I remember one time I'd been marketing this customer, very wealthy, politically exposed person, a pep, and we had gotten the account. And then his daughter was getting married, and we wanted to give him a gift. And so I did a memo for them to release 200,000 for me to buy a gift. And 200,000 then was a lot of money. And they returned the memo to me. The head of operations said, which ledger am I debiting? I said, what do you mean? Debit my entertainment ledger. She said, the money you budgeted for entertainment is done, it's finished. So if I had budgeted, let's say 500,000 that year, at the time I was writing that memo, I had spent the 500,000. They did not give me the 200,000. And because that customer was very important, that account was very important, they said to me, do a memo to justify, extraordinary budgetary approval. So I had to do a memo to MD to say, this is the customer, this is what is happening, this is what I want to buy. My entertainment budget has finished. Can you please approve an extra 200,000? Guess what they asked me? They said, can we see your other expense lines? Why did they want to see my other expense lines? They were looking for room. Perhaps I haven't spent as much on this, on car, on that, on that, on that. And it hit me. A bank so big and so wealthy, right, was so financially disciplined. And yet I'm not. Because at 4 o'clock, when you are winding down for the day, the traders will now come. They will bring shoe, they will bring bag, they will bring hair. They will call you from your desk. You will go to the lunchroom. You'll be trying on clothes. And good salespeople, they'll tell you, it looks nice. Buy 4, buy 5. You're checking. You're like, I can't afford it. So they'll say, don't worry. Give us post-dated checks. That's how you will write checks. Income that you haven't earned. You have spent it. And it's because you don't have a budget. I want to ask now, into 2025, how many of you have drawn up your expense budget? If not for the year, for the quarter at least. Show of hands. How many? Okay. 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 All right. Now, for those of you who haven't, right, there will be nothing restraining you from spending your money randomly. And randomness can never build your net worth. So I've given you an example. This is somebody's, someone I'm working with. A young man had come to me. I told you I work as a personal and business coach. So this is a young man I've been coaching for a while. And we're looking at his expense budget for the year. And I like him because as part of his discipline is accountability. And this is so important for those of you who run your own businesses. You cannot be the sole person who is writing the checks. Nobody is checking you. There's no check and balance anywhere. So the day your personal money has finished, you will enter the company money, spend it, and nobody will question you. It's not right. You have to bring that into your framework. There has to be accountability. Perhaps look for a coach, a mentor, or set up a board. Just pick a few people you respect. Let them sit in a board for you, so that when you want to spend this, they will put their signature on the check to sign with you before the money will come out. At least to a certain amount, all right? Anyway, so we're looking at his, and I've sort of summarized it because he has used an Excel sheet. On his Excel sheet, he has listed all the items he will spend money on, okay? And he has done January, February, March, up till the end of the year. He pays his rent in January, so you will see it in January month and nothing else. How much he will spend on food. And it's so interesting. I was looking at Q3 and I was seeing that amounts were reduced. He said that's because I'm traveling. Those monies are not going to be spent here. If you look under travel, you will see where it will be spent. Is it accurate? Maybe not. But at least he has something that is guiding him. And he has developed this based on his expenses from the prior year and inflation. A lot of businesses went down when dollar changed from 400 to 1,000 overnight. A lot of businesses shut down. And that's because we don't proof our businesses for inflation. Businesses don't have resilience. So you can see what he has done. It guides him. So there's something we call the run rate. So let me explain the run rate to you. If, for example, in Q1, he spends his budgeted 300,000 for food, and different things happen, and for some reason he spends 400,000 on food, it means that in Q2 he now has 200,000, not 3. The aim is that at the end of the year you do not exceed your expense budget. In fact, the aim is that at the end of the year, don't meet your expense budget. Let there be a little saving from your expense budget. You need to have a budget. Let me say it again. You need to have a budget. Not having a budget is like you get up in the morning, you are going to work, you just fall into the outfit you left on the floor. Do you understand? No intentionality in planning. I know that most of you, before you go to work, you will hang up the nice outfit. You will look for the shoe to match it, and the bag, you will plan the jewelry. Some of you, you have, jewelry, red, everything is planned, thought out, except your finances. Except your finances. If you scroll down, you will see he has a line for contingencies. He has a line for contingencies. And the reason he doesn't have, because when we started mentoring him, right? The reason he used to have like interest expense, because he was borrowing a lot. And one of the things we then did for him was to change his borrowing profile. If you are borrowing from a loan shark, please stop it. They charge you double. You can never meet the payment. So switch it, look for family, friends, For me, if you can't even find that, find an asset to sell and pay them off. It is a drain pipe to your resources. So we helped him reduce his interest expense up until this year. I'm looking at his expense sheet and there's zero interest expense. Interest expense is that expense line you pay for monies you have borrowed. All right. So we say always look for cheaper. If you must borrow, look for cheaper debt. If you must borrow, look for cheaper debt. There was a bank that used to give people loans to go on vacation. Please stop it. Don't take a loan to go on vacation. Travel abroad on a loan. You can't afford to go. Please stay. Please stay. Don't take a loan to go on vacation. You take loans to generate income, and that income must cover the loan, the interest expense, and give you a profit. If it doesn't, don't take it. Okay? If it doesn't, don't take it. Don't take a loan and go and do wedding. There was one wedding, they were spraying the bride and the groom, and the organization they had taken the loan from, the staff wore a coverall. They were the ones speaking the money, because that's how they were going to repay the loan. You must have a budget. If there's anything you live here doing, is doing your budget. So by the time you are done with Kemi and you're done with Louis, I'm going to look at the budget you have drawn for yourself, and hopefully look at things you have missed out, or look at things that we think that, inflation will escalate and all of that. You must have a budget. And every month you must know what your spend is. Don't have it in your head. Have it somewhere. Don't have it in your head. Have it somewhere. It must be somewhere. So that when you come out and they come to your office and they bring clothes and shoes and bag, you would have seen your budget that morning and you know that no, it's not in the budget. It's not in the budget. Can't buy it. That is financial discipline. All right, Martha, next slide. Now, you must have an income budget. Next slide. I've explained the concept of the run rate already. Your income budget is based on how much you want to make this year. So how many of you have an income budget? It's not enough to say, I have a good job, they will promote me. This is how much I'm making. No. You as a person, how much do you want to make this year? I had a conversation with, I think it was Shola I was having the conversation with. And I said to her, what's your income budget? Many of us then say, oh, we don't want to be bankers, oh, they shouldn't give me target, oh, How about you give yourself a personal target? When we're looking at assets, people were typing, I want to own a private jet, I want to do that. How will it happen? All those things you were writing in the chat that you want, how are they going to come? I used to tell myself, that one day I'll come into inheritance, the money will be plenty. One day I'll come into inheritance, the money will be plenty. The day I came into inheritance, the money was plenty, but the trouble that came after, swallowed all the plenty money, and I was back at zero. And I said to myself, you need to get up and push yourself. So when you draw up your income budget, you cannot budget for gifts and donations. You cannot budget that last, Pimo give me like 100K. Any day I just go and squeeze my face in Hills Center. He go pity me small. Last. You cannot put that one in the budget. What you're going to put in the budget will drive the things that you wake up to do every day. So if you're in paid employment, you have a salary that goes. But you need to understand that in today's Nigeria, your salary is not enough. Unless you are working in one mad oil company that is paying you in dollars. And let me tell you, interestingly, because I do recruitment, I'm meeting a lot of young people that are declining employment. And they are declining employment because they have sources of income that organizations cannot match. We did, some of the ladies are here when we got a young guy who does cryptocurrency to come and teach us. And he was sharing his testimony. You need to hear his testimony. We were pinching ourselves that day. We said, say it again. How much did you make? The guy has gone from 50,000 naira salary to right now he's a billionaire. And I'm not exaggerating. So who will employ him and pay him? Then I've met someone who says that he writes articles for some online and they pay him in dollars. I've met someone, so Louis will touch on that some more. Let me come back here. What? So your salary, you really cannot control the growth. okay? Except you are one of those staff that are priceless, that if you cough, I'm going to leave now, they will increase your salary. We had one girl like that in the bank. You just annoy her, she'll just resign and go home. They'll go and beg her and increase her salary and bring her back because she was a really good credit analyst. So if you want to be that kind of staff in your organization, you have to bring something to the table that is not common. All right? It's not ordinary. Then what's your hustle? You know, many people have side businesses in addition to salary. Now, let me say something. If you run a business, make sure you put yourself on salary. The profit of the business is not your salary. You are cannibalizing the business. There are many businesses that will never survive because every profit that they make goes into a gas upkeep. A business cannot grow that way. That business will die. You don't need prayer. You don't need prophecy. It will die. All right? We say that the life of an organism, all right, is in the blood. In finance, right, when we look at companies, what do we call blood? Is cash, liquidity. Any business that doesn't have liquidity is anemic and it will die very soon. So we have seen businesses with fantastic profit lines, but they cannot translate that profit to cash. They die overnight. So please, the profit that your business is making is not your salary. Put yourself on the payroll like your other staff. Separate your finances from the finances of the business. And then live within the salary you have given yourself. I said this to a businessman. Guess what he did? He then put himself on the payroll. Then put all his personal expenses as business expense. The business still died. I said to him, did you think you were being smart? It's like you have a 2-year-old child. You now carry one big box and put on the child's head. You will kill it. Allow the business to grow and build muscle to the point where it can carry your expense. It cannot carry your expense. Then you trim down your expenses or you find a side hustle to pay for your expenses. So whatever your hustle is, you know, put that in. But here is the thing. For many of us who do businesses, and this was what I was saying to Shola, so I'm using her as an example, right? We are waiting for, we don't have targets. We don't give ourselves targets because we don't like pressure. I beg you, I don't like pressure. I cannot come and go and kill myself. And that's okay. If you don't like pressure, then please don't like plenty money. Don't now sit and say, me, I don't like pressure, baby girl life. Oh. Who is funding the baby girl? Where is the money coming from? Give yourself business targets. I said to her at the beginning of the year, say to yourself, I'm going to have this project, this project, this project, this project. You don't know where it's coming from, but you've given yourself those targets. At the beginning of my work year, I've sat down for the company and we've said, we're going to do this in terms of trainings. That's what we're going to do. So we're now sending proposals to different companies so that those companies can help us achieve the target. You must have a stretch budget. I cannot budget what I made last year. If I do that, my net worth will not grow. So I'm then saying this year, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. In quarter one, I should have generated revenue of 100 million. In quarter two, I should have generated revenue of, do you understand? I'm budgeting it. Now, if I budget in quarter one that I would generate from projects a revenue of 100 million and I don't meet it, I maybe meet 80 million. It means that that 20 million moves on to the next quarter and is added to the revenue for the next quarter. This is accountability. This is accountability. So you budget it. The day of sleeping and waiting for money to fall on you is gone. Nigeria is fast becoming like Western countries. In Western countries, you hardly find people who have one job or one source of income. So apart from having multiple streams of income, stretch it. This is how much I will make. If you now say, oh, this whole year, I'm going to make 12 million. It then means that your target is that every month you're making 1 million. How many people will you make the 1 million from, depending on what you do? So you break it down. How many people will I make 1 million from this month? Then you're talking to them. Then you're in their faces. Then you're sending proposals. This is what drives your marketing. The need to meet your targets. If you don't meet your target, how do you grow your net worth? So have your income budget, stretch your income budget. What do you want to make this year? I want to earn 50% of my income in dollars this year. I'm going to earn 50% of my income in dollars this year. I put it down in my budget. All I now need is the strategy to achieve it. And that's what I'm working on. So who do I know in England? Who do I know in America? Who do I know in Dubai? Who do I know? You'll be amazed at the number of people that are selling things online. You'll be amazed. You'll be amazed. How much is $1,000 now? Say $160K. Abby? No, $100 is $160K. $1,000 is 1.6 million. If you do a $1,000 transaction, you met your budget. Somebody did a webinar. And please, don't now go and start doing webinars. Pastor ID says you should go and earn dollar. You now go and do webinar and be talking about what you don't know. Make sure you are ready. She did a webinar. She was saying, oh, she charged $20. She charged each participant $20. And from that single one webinar, she met her target for the year. She met her target for the year. A young lady called me and she said, you do trainings? I said, yes. Can we collaborate? I said, in what manner? She said, I teach this thing and I find that SMEs are struggling with it. Can we put it online using your business? Oh, I'm happy for it. She said, I want to use your platform, your business name, your contacts. I'm so excited. So I've said to her, she's doing all the work of putting the trainings online, the materials, this. I'm doing the work of selling it to organizations. And I'm selling it to organizations outside Nigeria. And of course, if you're outside Nigeria, you're definitely not going to pay me in Naira. You find that if you follow the concept of the run rate, many people hit their targets before the half year. The rest of it is extra money that will build your net worth. So please stretch. You know, this guy has investments, so he earns dividends. He has a hobby he's also making money from. What he's done is, and this is so ingenious because he said, oh, that he lives in a 3-bed apartment, so he's rented a room out, and this is the income he gets. Any questions here? Are we all here? Everybody's quiet.
We're here.
We are here.
Here,
Okay.
here.
All right.
But
I'm rounding up because it's almost 8
We are here.
o'clock.
This is Deepo.
We're here.
Okay, so please, if you draw up your income budget, you will see that your income budget will drive your activities for the day. If you have targeting, you will not be random. You'll not be going up and down. Just be going up and down, not knowing where to go, who to talk to, what to do. This country, you would be focused. Next slide, Martha. So we're rounding
That's
up.
the last slide.
Oh, that's the last slide. Okay. There was something I wanted to touch but I think we'll touch it later. But let me throw out this question, right? As you draw up your expense budget, let me ask you guys, do you use an expense tracker? Does anybody use an expense tracker? Show of hands. Okay, all right. Okay, the numbers are pretty small. An expense tracker will help you, okay?
Help
I
track the
remember,
record.
sorry? I remember when my daughter first got into uni and she couldn't manage her money at all. And for us, it was a lot of money because when we calculate it in Naira, the money is big. Oh. She'll tell you she wants to go and make her hair. The hair is like that day she wants to make her $100. You're crying because the money coming out is big. But $100 wasn't a lot there. One of the things I then did was to go online and to look for a simple expense tracker she could put on her phone. I'm going to look for different ones. That one was called YNAB. In fact, there were two, YNAB and Mint, because they are easy to use with phones. I don't use the phone one. I have a traditional Excel sheet where I'm tracking my expenses. If I asked you today, how much have you spent today? Do you know? Show of hands. Do you know how much you've spent today? Okay. Okay, more hands this time. So that's good. I want us to be conscious of expenses. All right? I want you to be conscious of expenses. A lot of our spending is needless. I'm telling you. A lot of our spending. And I'm saying it because I've been there. And where I am today, because I do this at the beginning of the year. And when I did it and I looked at my net worth, I was just smiling. I had a wide smile, to be honest, though, by the mercies of God. God brought transactions that blew my mind. But you know, those transactions, by the time they came, I was also ready. And I was ready because we had drawn up our income budget and we knew where to go. The income budget is a driver. It shows you where to go, who to talk to say, I can do this and I can do that and I can do that. So sometimes we have to be like the Chinese. Have you seen the Chinese when they come to Nigeria? They live low until they blow. You will see them at the airport. One, what they call that tundra will come and pick them. They will all sit in the back of the tundra. They will all live in one house. And as the business is growing, they are now moving into different houses. They are not ashamed to share expenses. They are not ashamed to, they're not just ashamed. I don't know why we are. I don't know why we think that there is dignity in portraying, you know, something or someone that we're not. Because at the end of the day, when you run into trouble, you are now coming to look for money from somebody who is looking at you and wondering, oh, you dey flex now. So please keep your expenses in mind, if nothing else, okay? All right, so I think I have time for 2-3 questions. I want us to finish at 8 because I have another meeting. Questions?
There is some questions in the
There's some
group.
questions in the comment section.
Yes.
I can't see them.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll put out some for you if you want.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so Osato says, what if someone is married and one of the spouses doesn't have a consistent income while the other has? How can the couple plan financially?
They can. And it happens in many families. All right? Understand your money personalities. Sometimes in families, one person who is a realist expects that the other one should be a realist. If you understand your money personalities, you can both sit down. See, it's difficult, right, to draw an expense budget for a socialite that doesn't have get together. How now? It will not work. That socialite will then enter into the other expense lines and eat the money because you are depriving that person of something that is important to them. So for married couples, you have a single house, you have one person earning for the household. It's going to be tight, but it can be done. So it's not impossible. What it requires is the ability for both of you to work together in drawing up your budget and for both of you to respect it. I've seen situations like this where a family draws up a budget, this is how much we are going to spend. And then the woman is coming back home with bags of things she just bought on impulse that were not on the budget simply because she could not resist it. Or the man is collecting all the money and he's sending it to family and friends simply because, no, it doesn't matter. It just has to do with respect. Like I said, we will teach you. We can't discipline you. You need to discipline yourselves. And both of you must pray, right?
Okay, another question for Emeke. How do you effectively, I think it means how do we, because you're settled, how do
I'm
we
not.
effectively manage our expenses in this period of inflation, especially with transportation and food, as it takes almost everything, especially for daily commuters?
Yeah. I saw a young lady who, she wanted to go somewhere and I said, use the bus. She said, she cannot enter bus. So I started laughing. I said, how much do you earn? So you use Uber all the time. Did you people see Uber rates this December? It was crazy. So one of the things young people can do is to share. Find ways to share your expenses. Let me tell you, when I started work, one of the things I did, I was living with my sister in Lagos at the time when I started work. And she was living in K2. So we'd go from K2 to VI to work. How were we getting there? We looked for neighbors around that had cars that would pick us. So people would pick us, take us to their office in VI. Sometimes we're lucky to find the ones who will pass our own offices first and drop us off. So that's what we did for a very long time. All right. Would look for rides, share rides with people. But please, though, be careful, people you know. But I think that these things seem a bit hard in Lagos because Lagos people are, I'm not a Lagos person, so forgive me, I'm putting it in quotes so you'll not be offended. But it's that thing of me, myself, and I. It doesn't work. If you are young, share a living space. That's not the time to say, I like my privacy and I like my space. You can't afford to like your privacy and your space. Share an apartment. If you are sharing an apartment, you can share the cost. All right. So learn to share some of these things. Share as much as you can so that you bring your expenses down. And let's be honest, I sat down one day and I was looking at a driver in the office and he was telling me how he had just built a house. It was a small house, 2-bedroom house, but guess what? It was his house. And I said to myself, I earn 4 or 5 times what he earns. But he has built a house, he has a wife, he has children. But we were the ones feeling big, want to buy big things, spend on big things, and that's good. But do what you can afford. The future will come when you will go big, but don't sacrifice that now. There is something called delayed gratification. I did this training for a group of celebrities. All of them were actors, musicians, They didn't have any money. Why? They spend so much on their clothes. And they were telling me that because of what they do, that they needed the clothes. And we sat down that day and we began to do calculations to then say, are there cheaper ways to do this? If I have a black suit, right, that black suit for me is like 12 outfits. All I need is a scarf, a camisole, a shirt. Do you understand? I mustn't buy all the time. So there are ways, Emeka, I would like to see your expense sheet.
Okay, Ma, I think we have one more question. Ma, what advice do you have for someone that doesn't know how to say no, especially when the things are not in your budget?
There's spending personalities like that. Socialites like to make people happy. So we always put that in their budget. Like I said, discipline is a muscle. You have to exercise it. Because you find that many of the socialites spend their money, and then when they need money, they get upset that the people they spent money on are not there for them. Meanwhile, you're forgetting that those people have their own money personalities. And according to their personality, they don't spend money on friends. So you have to learn. But for many socialites, when you're drawing your expense sheet, make sure you have a line that says spending on friends. Budget for it. And if you're budgeting for it, it then means on your income budget, you work the money out. Work for it.
Okay, I think these are all the questions, but we have one final question, not more just we will be able to get to watch the replay as some people came in later than others.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so this is also being streamed on YouTube. So yes, it will be on YouTube for some time. So after this, you can watch via the Ecclesia Hills YouTube channel. So yes.
You mean I'm on YouTube, Pastor Fred? You'd have told me now that one suit upon suit with tie.
You look amazing. No worries.
Thank you.
But it's been really really amazing session. Like Pastor ID, it's been such an amazing session. So grateful. I mean, you from beginning you do shook a lot of table. You shook a lot of table, and it was really really detailed, and from the assets, liabilities, and of course net worth. Like it's impossible not to have gained from this session, to be honest with you. And I think that this is probably our largest number for masterclass, hitting 100 and above 100. So it's been really, really wonderful. And despite that, we've been here for almost 2 hours and everyone has just been here. Thank you so much, so much, so much. So really good understanding. Really good understanding. There's a question on charts.
Yes, black tax.
Sorry.
Black tax. Let me tell you something, and this is my personal story. My dad had a stroke, and we had to put him on very expensive medication. And at the time when he had that stroke, a lot of my younger ones were not working. So it was myself and my sister. So we put him on very expensive medication, and it was killing me. It was killing me, honestly. I was working in the bank at the time, but of course, you have your own personal bills, and this was and then we didn't have medical insurance like we have now. That's the other thing. Please, guys, go and get medical insurance. We didn't have them. So we had to be paying for these drugs. And I remember one time I went to the pharmacist and I said, surely there must be cheaper drugs, right? That would do the exact same thing. So she changed the brand. Oh, my mom threw a fit. Why will you change the brand? You people want to kill him. And I was explaining to her, he will do the same thing. He will do the exact same thing. So he then switched to this other brand. And of course, my mother was like, oh, he's not getting better, he's getting worse. Of course, already in your mindset, you have said to yourself that, it will not work. So it did not work. So he had to go back to the other brand. And then I resigned my job. My family was moving and we moved. So I was not contributing to the drugs anymore. My sister, I'm trying to remember what happened to her, but both of us who had been contributing couldn't. Guess what? They were fine. Where they found the money from till today, they were fine. By the time I came back, my dad's cheeks had come out, was smiling. And I was asking my mom, where did you people? That's when she remembered that there's one money, there's one. So black tax won't go away, all right? But you have to be very careful. Let me tell you something we do in recruitment. One of the things we do in recruitment for taking people to work in financial services is looking at your family background. And when we look at your family background and see that you are under financial pressure, it's likely you will not get the job, because we've seen many people who, because of black tax, either do fraud. Yes. You can budget it. Budget what you can do, all right? And be very careful. Because for many of us, let me use myself, my mother takes money from us to fund her community. She's not funding any of her children. For many families, you see that there's this person they want to help, and that person they want to help, and that person. And I've said many times, but you have children that need help. Why are you then going outside? So sit down and review what their own needs are and what contribution you can bring to the table. Some of you don't know how to say no when your parents are making demands. Be careful.
Thank you, Ma.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Pastor ID. Such an informative session, and you've really done. This is probably the first time I've heard you speak for 2 hours and not quote a scripture, even though there's scripture all over it. So, but it's been really, 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 really amazing and very. I don't think anybody here would say they didn't gain from this session at all. Such a great. So making decisions now, after service on Sunday, I'm sure some will make a different decision from today, and so many more other. So money will be invested differently from this time on, and actually understanding. Because somewhat, if you don't do this, you don't know that you're actually on life support. Like literally, like you think you have money, but it was just not there at all. And it's been really wonderful. Thank you so much. By the way, everyone, thank you for participating. It's been incredible. The chat has been lit. Absolutely lit. That was really beautiful. Thank you so much to all of you who participated in that. Lots of contributions, lots of engagement, and it's really, really wonderful that we're all part of this. Remember that this is part one of a three-part series. So there are two more series coming. So there is one from our sister Kemi, Jenike. She will be taking the second part, and then Lou will be taking the third part. They will all be late, so you don't want to miss this. I will announce the date in the future, but the next event or the next thing we have is the business breakfast coming up next week, Saturday. And the theme is if the Lord builds. It's unless the Lord builds, and it will be wonderful. Believe me, there are two incredible speakers who will be taking time to explain so much about what it takes to build. Remember, this is January, and we really need to build, really. And starting with the personal finance so that we build right and not make mistakes. These are real wisdom coming from Pastor Heidi today. And will come in the next during the business breakfast and the two series coming. And we'll have so much coming. There's a business conference in April, I believe, April 5th and 6th. We'll have a business conference coming. There's another business breakfast after that, and so many master classes, arrangements. It's just going to be, there's just so much that will be happening. If you're not in Hills Business Hub group, please, we will share the link so they can join the group after this. And if you've not registered also for the business breakfast, please do. Registrations help us plan, right? So we know exactly who is coming. Remember, it's business breakfast, so there is food. And we need to plan and know. If you don't register, you may come that day and not find yam to eat or something to eat or something nice to eat, something. So make sure you register so that you are also counted as those who are going to be part of this. But this has been incredibly a rich session. Thank you so much, Pastor ID. Really, really wonderful having you. This. Please, can somebody unmute and just say thank you to Pastor ID before we leave tonight?
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Thank
Pastor
you,
ID.
Pastor
Thank
ID.
you.
Pastor
Thank
ID.
you, Pastor
Thank you, Pastor.
ID.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Pastor.
Pastor.
Thank you,
Pastor
Pastor
ID.
Thank
ID.
Pastor
you.
ID.
Very wonderful and
Pastor
enlightening
ID.
session. Thank you. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Pastor ID. We are grateful and look forward to the future sessions. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful evening or morning, depending on what country you are.
Thank you,
Enjoy
people.
yourselves. God bless you. Take care.
God bless
Thank you,
you.
Pastor Fred, too.
Thank you, Hills
Thank
Business.
you. Thank you, business. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you,
Thank,
Pastor ID.
thank you, Mother.
Be fresh.
Thank you, Pastor ID. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Martha.
coming. Thank you all. Please register for Hills Business
Thank you.
Breakfast.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, register for Heels Business Breakfast. Everyone, let's do it together.